Hello and welcome to Bardom, the magical place on the internet to go if you are completely bored and want to hear a stranger tell a story. That's kind of obscure and probably no one cares about, but I do, so I'm going to share them. Okay, so today's fairy tale that I'm going to be telling, it's one that I came across when I was younger, and this is what I remember to the best of my ability. It was unfortunately never written down, but here's what I do remember. Okay, so I remember hearing the punchline in German, so I am assuming that it's German, but other than that, this is just something that comes off the top of my head. So if anyone's heard anything about this or similar to it, send me a note. I would love to, I don't know, see the similarities or differences or where I might be wrong. Anyway, so I think the only title that I would come up with for this would be something like Deceiving Granny. Okay, so that's going to be my title for this, Deceiving Granny. It's probably something more like the Granny and the Greedy Robber or something, but that's what I'm going to call it, Deceiving Granny. Okay, so once upon a time there lived an old widow. Now, as the word widow implies, she didn't have a husband, and as far as anyone knew, she didn't really have any sons or family. She lived all alone by herself, and I don't know. She kind of kept mostly to her little cottage and didn't bother anyone. Now, somehow there got to be word in like the tavern or the village or wherever it was. That this old lady had a lot of money saved up. No one was really sure if it was true or not, but honestly, luckily, most of them didn't care to find out, except for this lady's neighbor. Now, this neighbor was probably like a younger guy. He may have been lazy, but basically he was like, I should trick this old lady into giving me all that money. I'm sure I could do it. I could figure out a way. I'm smart. And so one day, the neighbor goes up to the old widow. He knocks on her door, and she invites him in for tea. And they have a very lovely chat. They talk about the weather. They talk about gardening. I don't know what they talk about, but it's a very pleasant, civilized chat. Until the neighbor says, there's been some talk in the tavern and on the town recently that you have a lot of money saved up. Is this true? And she answers him. It might not be very straightforward, but he thinks that it means that she has money saved up. And he says, and the neighbor says, oh yeah, well it would be terrible if something happened to that money, and I'm gonna advise you to do something with it. You should probably not keep it in here. That way, if someone breaks in after this rumor happens, like, they're gonna find it and they're gonna take it and it's gonna be terrible. But if you put it outside or by the stream or somewhere, or probably by that tree out in your yard, that's like the dividing line between our properties, then it could be safe there. So the old widow says, "Oh, thank you, kind neighbor. That's I'll think on that. I'll probably end up doing that." And so the old neighbor goes home, and he waits a couple of days, and eventually he sees her again. And he asks, "So, did you take my advice and hide that money?" And she said, "Well, I did actually. And wouldn't you know, there was a funny occurrence I found. It turns out that when I dug the money up from under that tree, that like you told me to do, or like you told me to put it under, there was actually more money than I remember putting in. It doubled. I don't know how, but it doubled." And so the neighbor is, money, more money. And so he decides, okay, this is the night. She might, I don't know, I don't want her to do anything else with that money, so I'm going to get it tonight. So, everything is very dark. It's midnight. Not even the stars are shining to illuminate this act of evil. of stealing from an old lady, which is actually kind of an act of evil. Um, but the neighbor goes out to the tree he told her to put it under, and he's digging around. For some reason there's like no marks on the ground that he can see that the ground's been dug up recently. But he's been digging around, he's digging, and it takes him a while, and he can't find anything. He digs in a couple different places, and I don't know, maybe he even goes to a river and tries to find the burial site, but he can't find anything. And probably like an hour or two into this endeavor, he just thinks to himself, man, am I an idiot? And from behind him, there comes a voice. Yes, you are an idiot. And so the neighbor just jumps around out of his skin, turns around, sees the old lady smiling and laughing at him. Now there's the long moment of silence where she's looking down at him, he's looking up at her, and they just stand like that for a little while. And then eventually the old lady says, and this is the punchline that I remember, Ich bin alt und schwach, aber dumm bin ich nicht. And then she just walks away. He's probably too scared to move at this point, and that is like a massive embarrassment to be outsmarted by an old lady, whom he probably didn't perceive to be that quite so smarter than him, I guess. I don't know. So I really kind of wish that like there had been other people around when she discovered him doing that, and like I kind of hope he got ran out of town for being for trying to steal from an old lady. Maybe that's just a little bit too harsh, but still, I don't know. Don't steal from old ladies. Try not to deceive. It's not a good thing, and sometimes it can backfire. Maybe. Sometimes. Just sometimes. And there's always that chance that it won't, but it could. So that's it for this story. What did you think about this? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you hear anything similar as a kid? Or growing up? I don't know. If there are any stories that you know, please send them to me. I'd love to hear stories from different countries. And yeah, that's all that I can really think of. So I don't know when I'll be back. I'll probably be doing another video someday soon. I don't know. I'll always probably just pop up on YouTube someday. I don't know. Anyway, wherever you are, have a good day, have a good night. Anyway, bye!